Oh boy, another Tuesday is here, my friends. All my little roaches, come on out, spread your wings if you are lucky enough to be a roach with those. Some of us don't have those. Some of us do. Those are the real scary ones. Josh Potter here once again, and gotta say a big thank you to everybody I've seen out on the road. It has been a wild 2 weeks. We've had to tape. I flew home basically just to tape episodes for you, of course. So I wasn't here very much at all during the last 2 weeks. But thank you to Milwaukee. Thank you to the fine folk in Cleveland. If you came out to Annie Letterman shows, those were fun. And also the folk in Nashville. We just got back from there, and what an unbelievable time at Zanies. 3 of the best clubs in the country. Hilarities, Zanies, the Milwaukee Improv, brand new, already coming out of the gate hot. So make sure if you live in that area, you support that fine establishment. Coming up here on the road, we're going to have a few more dates. September 30th, I am going to be in our nation's capital. That's right, no capital insurrection this time, just an insurrection of the DC Improv. With all kinds of roaches. Not an insurrection, an infestation. So come on out September 30th to the DC Improv. Beyond that, I'm going to be out on the road a little bit with one Tom Segura, so look for me in October with him if you're going to see him at some point. And also, I am going to be doing my hometown, Buffalo Helium Comedy Club, and that's going to be happening the weekend of Thanksgiving. And I guess what? I'm going to be announcing some dates very soon. If you live in the New York area, if you live in Pennsylvania in certain areas, the East Coast, baby. Got some dates coming for those places up there in the Northeast. So thank you so much for coming out to the shows. Please to continue. Please to be buying some more tickets and coming out to the rest of the shows for the rest of the year. You can find them up on my Instagram at Josh_Potter. You can find them on my Twitter at J_Potter. Just go right to the old link tree. Thank you to Craftmatics for number 37. That's the name of that song right there. Appreciate it, buddy. And I guess I have to apologize. Last week I made the music too. Everyone was so up in arms about how loud the music was. Oh, my poor ears. I didn't realize that we had so many grandmas listening, but apparently my mix was too abrasive for everybody, so I guess I have to apologize for that. We got 3-0 here. The Reds in the top of the 6th. Kyle Farmer coming to the plate. Trying to think of other people other than Joey Votto. The guy hits home runs every time, for Christ's sake. Farmer coming to the plate. And boy, oh boy, last week, fellas, I played some audio that was a little abrasive to ears. People with sensitive ears were complaining, up in arms. I have to apologize for that as Farmer chops at one. 0-1 the count. Really reaching for that one. As I'm reaching for this apology, because I really, at the end of the day, folks, I don't care. But people were so angered that I felt the need to come on here and say something about it. I also thought about making the music extra loud this time and just miming my words for a solid 4 minutes. That's spiteful, Josh. We're trying to get rid of him. As Farmer here leaves the batting box to pick his nose for a couple of moments. But hopefully the music was a little bit better this go-around. And now the count 0-2. I also, by the way, speaking of apologies, Tom Brenneman in the news again. He just did another interview, and people, now more people, and I would like to say it's because of you and I, more people are starting to not come to the aid. It's not like he needs aid, but sort of rising up for Tom Brenneman and saying how much is enough, you know? Enough is enough. The guy's apologized. He's done wonderful things for charity, for LGBT plus groups and the trans community. And he didn't have to, no court of law was making him do those things, as I brought up when he was on our program. But now I think because of our glomming on to Tom Brenneman here and bringing him to light, I think we've had a little bit of a catalyst to bring him back to the forefront. And I hope with all my heart that, you know, they're starting to, now the corporations, Fox News, or Fox Sports, excuse me, and the Cincinnati Reds are sort of being, not pressured, but the question's being raised, you know, like, why not bring him back? I mean, hasn't this been enough punishment? I mean, the last 18 months, granted, it's not as much suffering as someone who has to live their entire life hearing those words, but at the end of the day, the guy was quoting a movie. We all know this. Let's not rake him over the coals anymore. And I'm hoping, because the playoffs are about to begin, and Tom Brenneman did say he'd come on this program at any point, we're hoping to get him back for the playoffs. I'm making some questions about that. Not to talk about, I'm gonna ask him ridiculous stuff. Maybe we're gonna ruin him again. Do you know, we've just done something where we've touted him up, and people are starting to see him and hear him and see what he's been doing in lieu of all of his gaffes, and they're starting to, you know, bring him back to the forefront or give him work again. Let's bring him back on the program for playoff baseball and really just dig him a deeper hole. That's what I would imagine happening. I wouldn't do it on purpose, that's for damn sure. But another thing that occurred this past week, and I haven't had a chance to come on here. I mean, it happened when I landed in Nashville on Tuesday last week, 1 week ago. I learned of Norm Macdonald's passing, and of course, like many people, I was distraught, and it really started, I was very much moved in a poor direction, obviously, by his passing, and I was wondering why, because celebrity deaths don't really, you know, affect me, usually. And I don't mean that in a crass way or a callous way. I'm just saying, like, usually somebody who I didn't know passing away doesn't typically affect me. It's sad and what have you, but this one was really fucked me up for a second, and I don't know why at first, you know. And then I started thinking about it. Of course, I went out in Nashville, had a few beers, and was sitting at a bar, kind of just listening to some terrible band play at a bar. And I started thinking about why it was affecting me so much, or why I was thinking about it so much. And it's because, honest to God, the first time I ever came across any comedy really on television that made me go like, oh my God, what's this? It seemed edgy and dangerous. I was like 8 years old, and I was just scrolling through channels late at night on a Saturday, and boom, there's Weekend Update. That was like the first time, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what Saturday Night Live was. I didn't know who Norm Macdonald was. I thought it was the news, but people were like laughing, and I'd never seen that on the news before. So I'm like, what is going on here? And then it was just like a guy making jokes. I'm like, oh, this is like a fake news. What is this? And then of course I watched the subsequent episode, and it was John Travolta hosting. And it's so funny because, you know, SNL's very like woke now. Oh, we're so woke. This was, I guess, 1994 or so. And John Travolta was hosting, and immediately following the Weekend Update sketch, this is a tangent, has nothing to do with Norm Macdonald, but immediately following it was a homophobic vampire sketch where like everyone was like, I think he's gay, and the vampire was like, I'm not gay, and it was just like this. That was the sketch. Literally every joke was like, people were laughing when he was like, I'm not gay, and then it turns out he was gay. I think the sketch ended with the bat, him turning into a bat and then having sex with another bat or something like that. Regardless, that was my dipping my toe into Saturday Night Live. But now I realized that I was watching Norm Macdonald growing up for so long, and it had such a profound effect on me and my comedy, as a matter of fact. That's why it was bothering me. So it's very sad. And I mean, his countless appearances on late night television, everything always seemed, especially when you get to know the inner workings of late night television, when you look at those appearances, you go like, oh, he just didn't give a shit, and that's what made it so wonderful. It seemed like it was all dangerous and kind of off the cuff, and he was just such a great writer and so funny. And I never had the pleasure of meeting him. I'm not like one of these comics who's like sharing the picture where I got because I didn't get to. But you know, every story you hear is wonderful, and we work with some similar people in the business end of things, and they've had nothing but wonderful things to say. And it just really just sucked hearing about that one. Just kind of really fucked me up a little bit. So I wanted to say that. I mean, just a profound effect on my life. Thank you for everything, Norm Macdonald. And you're going to be missed. And I'm not choking up or anything. I'm just, I smoked before this. That's all.
Now watch this drive.
But we have to get into many things. We have so much feedback to get into. These jizz hottists out there are just running rampant in our society, and the more I bring it up, I feel like I'm bringing awareness, you see, to semen terrorism, because the more I bring it up, the more emails I get, not only from people who have been subject to semen terrorism, but also people who are now confessing to semen terrorism, which is bizarre. I mean, I don't know if it's like, you know, when they do a bombing or whatever, ISIS is like, hey, that was us. These people are kind of doing the same thing. They're taking credit for some semen terrorism out there. So we'll get into those right now, as a matter of fact. But first, an update on At first, I called this guy the Tim McVeigh of semen terrorists because it was a domestic case, but I can't tell you how many fucking emails I got about this guy. We already talked about him and his crime, obviously. He went into a grocery store, and right when he walked in, we actually found video of it too at one point, but it's just something you don't want to, I don't want to show this. I mean, it's really quick. It's just the guy walks into the door and just like, you see him just go like boop and like stab a lady in the ass. And then she turns around and you can actually see him mime what we discussed him saying, which was, feels like a bee sting, doesn't it? He was eventually arrested, of course. They found more syringes of semen in his trunk. We don't know what sort of political stance he has. We don't know what sort of religious stance he has or fundamental stance he has, so he hasn't explained that or his motives. Maybe he did now because we have an update on him. Oh, this is not the right one. I grabbed the wrong stack. It's over here. We have an update on him. This happened in Maryland, of course, and obviously surveillance footage. This was back in February of 2020. This 53-year-old man has been jabbing syringes into the buttocks of a woman known as Katie Peters when she was returning her grocery cart after shopping at the store in Churchton, Maryland. She told the news that she had thought he had burned her with a cigarette because it was like a quick, so, no one's thinking syringe of semen. She yelled at him and he responded, yeah, it felt like a bee sting, didn't it? He intentionally went out into the community with the goal of assaulting unsuspecting women. That's what the state attorney Ann Colt said via a statement. The woman who was stabbed said the wound began burning like mad. When the area became red and raised, she went to the hospital. At that point, she still didn't know what semen had injected, or what Stemen. I'm sorry, I mixed that up because the man's name is basically Semen, but with a T. It's Stemen. Or Stemen, I suppose, with the T going in there. The E becomes a different sound in the English language. But Stemen, I mean, it just is spelled like semen, so you can understand why my blind ass has its brain in a pretzel. Police identified the man in the surveillance video as Stemen with the help of the community. They eventually got a search warrant and discovered the number of syringes that we mentioned. They found not only syringes in his car, but in his home as well. That's kind of like when they have a terrorist thing, they find out who the terrorist is, they go to his house, and it's like, oh my God, and it's just pipe bombs everywhere. This guy just had beakers of cum probably, and he's like pouring. How do you get him? I guess a syringe, you pull it out. Does a syringe act as a like a plunger situation, Kirsten? Do you know anything about syringes?
Yeah, I would imagine that he just
sucked it up like a turkey baster.
Yeah, exactly.
So that makes it easier. Maybe that's why it's the preferred way to do it, because you can't pour. I mean, you can't pour semen into things, and I don't know. How do you keep it from... I would imagine it would evaporate too. I don't understand how... I mean, the viscosity of his loads, they must be wild. But nevertheless, they also found the clothes he was wearing in the footage, so that did him in even more. After testing the substance in the syringes, authority realized that it was his semen. I don't know how they realized it was his versus others. As we know with Sarah Weinshank, that is something that's... we have to really keep into consideration, the differentiating. Whose semen is it? Is it your own? Is it someone else's? But there we go. He's this is the update of that. He's been finally found guilty. It didn't say what. After serving his 10-year sentence, so he's getting. Okay, so here we go. He pled guilty to the charges, received a 10-year prison sentence, adding 5 years of supervised release. Interesting. Seems like he needs some supervised release because he's been doing a lot of unsupervised releasing in the last couple of years here, putting them in syringes and stuff. I wonder if if he considers supervised release someone watches him while he jerks off now. I wonder. But the Washington Post reports all of it. He said he also pleaded guilty to second-degree assault after trying to attack a 17-year-old girl with a syringe the same night. She went unharmed, so she must have dodged it or something. After serving his 10-year sentence, Stemen will have to undergo a substance abuse and mental health evaluation. Yeah, he's abusing substances, all right. Put in a new definition to ragheads, these semen terrorists, huh? We'll just call them rags. I don't even know, because, they don't have it on their heads. They have it in their hands. I'm just trying to play with it out there. We need derogatory terms for these terrorists, just like we have all the others, you see. So if you come up with any out there, let me know. Jihadists are what they're officially called by the state, I do believe. And I understand, by the way, I've been reading more about jihads. It's not necessarily just a religious thing. It's like your personal struggle. That's really the definition of it. So I'm curious what the struggle is for the semen terrorists. Maybe we'll get more insight as we hear from some people who have dealt with this in the community out there. Hey there, Papa Roach. My name is Josh Allen. Yes, that's my real name. He shares the name of such a sweet, good angel boy playing quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. He's 26 years old. He's an Army soldier from Washington State. Just wanted to run a few possible name alternatives, good, for semen terrorists, and wanted to see what you think. Feel free to use any of them that you like. Semen scoundrels, maybe a little light. Fuck chowder fiends. I think he put the F in there for alliteration. And also fuck chowder is an interesting way to describe semen. Not my favorite. Doesn't roll off the tongue necessarily. Not exactly an elegant way to describe it. I couldn't say fuck chowder. It's also, that's the same thing as like baby batter and shit like that. Like, it's just a little much, you know? We have to dial it back a little bit. Jizz offenders. Now that's more on the nose and to the point. Now he's just getting out of pocket with the rest of these. You could tell he just needed more volume so he could make fuck chowder stand out. Come rapscallions. I do like rapscallion, but I don't like it in terms of this. Mission miscreants, dick snot desperados. Now, dick snot desperados, again, trying a little hard, but at the same time, that one rolls off the tongue a little bit better. But he says, keep killing it, and I do appreciate the effort from Josh Allen, and you, sir, are welcome anytime just because of your name. Had another one here. This one, a person, a victim of semen terrorism. This is an anonymous source. They don't want people to know who they are. Hello. I am a supervisor of semen I'm a supervisor. I am a survivor of semen terrorism. I went to an art school for college, and for an experimental art assignment, one kid brought in a cast iron skillet with his cum all over it as a piece of art. He has already cooked some portions of it. The smell was beyond words. We had to sit there and critique his piece of art with a straight face. Have a nice day. I'm going to have such a nice day now. That's exactly. I mean, good golly. That's my favorite thing about art is there are some people out there, and maybe they are semen terrorists, but they could be terrorists of other bodily fluids. I want to see all the art that's like, hey, this is Jesus, but he's made out of shit. You know, those kinds of things. There's articles. I mean, they really, they get the word out when they do these types of things, you know. Here is a vial of piss. The piss is from a rhino. You're like, whoa, okay, cool. Or it's like the last dodo bird's piss or something. I don't know. It's wild when people use bodily fluids. This man came into a skillet. Now, we've seen on Your Mom's House and things like that, obviously. We've watched people fry their own cum and eat it. I never, through watching those videos and things, I never even thought of the smell. And I wonder if this guy was like, if part of the art exhibit, you see, was him like having the cast iron skillet on a stove and he's just like throwing semen into it and like flipping it like it's pancakes or like it's an over easy egg or something like that. If that's what the smell was, or if all the fried up, dried up cum on this skillet was the thing with such a crazy smell. I'm curious. It didn't go into that detail. I was wondering that myself, or, because I don't know if he was doing something with it or if he just hung it on the wall and was like, look at my cummed up skillet. Check it out. Today's Josh Potter Show is brought to us by the fine folks at HelloFresh. We know that I am a creature of convenience. I like when I can just go, that, and then I can eat it. You know what I'm saying? I don't like much to do when it comes to food. And HelloFresh has really just taken a lot out of the equation as far as the things that are seemingly daunting to me. I mean, they give you fresh, pre-measured ingredients, mouth-watering seasonal recipes, and it's delivered right to your door. So you skip all the garbage where like going to the grocery store, having to measure stuff. I mean, they got it all right there for you. And I know fall is a busy time for all of us. Football season, things like that. The last thing we want to think about is having to eat every night. And thank God, HelloFresh, they have recipes that not only save time, also they save money when it comes to spending on meal planning and such like that. And they've got their autumnal sort of recipes up there. Some wonderful things. The fall harvest is officially on with HelloFresh. You can count on the seasonal recipes like pumpkin cinnamon rolls, Friendsgiving ready sides, as well as fresh, high-quality ingredients that travel from the farm to your front door in less than a week. Get better value. HelloFresh is over 30% cheaper than shopping at the grocery store, by the way. And they've got pre-portioned ingredients that ensure you won't spend money on excess food, so you don't have to waste things. And right now, you can go to HelloFresh.com/JoshPotter14. Use code JoshPotter14 for up to 14 free meals, including free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/JoshPotter14. Use code JoshPotter14. You'll get 14 free meals, including free shipping. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Today's Josh Potter Show also brought to us by the fine folks at Dadgrass. I'm holding it right here in my little hand. And they sent me a nice little care package over at Dadgrass. You see what they're doing over at Dadgrass is very interesting, as a matter of fact. And it's a complaint that I've heard quite a bit, being a stoner myself and living out here in California. Sometimes we just get you they're making it too strong these days. And it's like Dadgrass is bringing back mids. And that's good for here's the thing. I like smoking because I just want every now and then for the fist that's around my brain constantly to sort of loosen up. And that's all I'm looking for. I don't need to go to outer space every single time. And Dadgrass, they've come up with a solution for that. Dadgrass is completely legal, by the way. It's organic, smokable hemp that relaxes your body and mellows your mind. It's 100% organic. Pre-rolled joints are very low in THC, high in CBD, so you can enjoy the effects of CBD while keeping a clear head, you see. You can chill out without getting stoned. It's like having a glass of wine, not the whole bottle, you see. All Dadgrass products are federally legal for ages 21 and over, and it ships right to your door anywhere in the U.S. It's remarkable, as a matter of fact. Whether you're looking for a new buzz or a chill way to enjoy an old favorite, Dadgrass is going to leave you in a euphoric mood. So right now, Dadgrass is offering my listeners 20% off their first order when you go to dadgrass.com/Josh. Go to dadgrass.com/Josh. You'll get 20% off your first order. That's dadgrass.com/Josh. Either way, interesting stuff. We have another email here. This one is a confessed semen terrorist. Now, let's see if he has any sort of ideology behind it, or if it's just another guy getting his jollies out there. Here it is. Hey, Josh, I'm a huge fan of the podcast, stream, and comedy. So he likes all my work, but he is perhaps a criminal. We're going to find out. I'd imagine there's a lot of criminals who watch this show, and here I am, not discriminating. I welcome all the criminals. Hell, I want OJ on the podcast. After watching episode 49 with Chase, I must make a confession. This is an open forum, friend. We're going to keep an open mind. During my freshman year of college, I lived in a dorm with a roommate, and we had a bathroom/shower in which we shared with two other guys. Long story short, thank you, I absolutely hated one of the guys we shared a bathroom with. There are so many reasons behind my hatred for him. You don't have to justify roommate hatred. Trust me. You're looking at a guy who goes around trying to. I'm the same way. My roommate couldn't be nicer. Nicest guy. Does he annoy the fuck out of me? Oh, yeah. Can't wait to be gone soon enough. Oh, boy. So I get this. Would I ever resort to where I think you're going? No, I don't have that kind of level of... But let's see what raised your ire to the point of more or less committing a crime. There are many reasons behind my hatred for him, but the one thing reigns supreme. After Thanksgiving break that year, I was driven back to campus by my dad. Didn't have my own car at the time. When we got back to my dorm, we were met with one of the most repulsive smells I have ever smelled. It was so bad that I exclaimed, "It smells like something died in here." It was so bad that my dad, who works in forensics for the Chicago Police Department, agreed. As we approached the bathroom door, the obvious scene of the crime, the smell intensified. When we opened the door, we were met by a toilet filled with diarrhea. It turned out that the entire toilet was clogged with shit. My dad and I almost puked. That's even more, here's the thing. If the shit comes out of your body, I don't know if this is this is a question that I would like to ask Dr. Drew down the road. I'm piling them up for when he comes on this program, you see. Does someone else's shit purposely smell worse than your own? Do you understand what I'm saying, Kirsten? Do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I do. If it's not coming out of my body, is it going to smell worse?
Say you
to
have,
me?
like, I mean, of course, I've had just tragic incidents on a toilet where I've gone like, good God. But I do recall this was at the beginning of 2020, and it was the first weekend I was headlining in Laugh Boston. And I wanted so badly, my friend Matt Wayne, my best friend in comedy, one of my best friends, I should say, I wanted him to be my opener. And the club, was my first time. They didn't put him up. So I was like, just stay in my hotel room. The Bills were playing against the Texans that Saturday in the playoffs. It was January 2nd through 4th of 2020, before pandemic. So I wanted to have a real time. So I'm like, just stay in my hotel room. The morning I was set to leave Boston, I was in the shower and we had a real time. We were tearing it up. He goes, dude, I have to go. And so he came into the bathroom while I was in the shower and had to take a shit. And I swear, it was just a normal shit. It made me throw up in the shower, just smelling another person's shit. Do you know what I mean? Have you experienced this? Now, you have your husband's here today. You live with him. Have you ever had this problem with each other, living with another person? Because I haven't shared a bathroom with someone in forever. I have a roommate, but I have my own bathroom,
I mean, listen, we have a window right above the toilet, and it stays open all times.
That's what I do, too. I keep people say that to me. My roommate, actually, he's like, and I've sealed it off so the air conditioning doesn't go out, but he, raised that concern. I'm like, no, there's no ventilation. I have to... A window in the bathroom, it should be opened all the time. I don't care if it's snowing out, if it's Arctic outside, you keep that window open. That's a great tactic. I like that very much. So this man, he dealt with and this is diarrhea, this is clogged, it's been sitting in the heat probably, who knows. So I can understand where he's coming from. Is it enough to commit a semen terrorist act? Let's find out what he did. We had to air that bitch out for a while. It was gross. I was the first one back to the 4x4, so I sent an aggressive text into our quad's group chat. After deliberation, it was determined and later confirmed that the motherfucker that I hated left the bathroom in such horrible conditions. So I knew I couldn't beat his ass because the dude was a narc. So he thought, if I physically harm him, he will tell on me. So I found my revenge elsewhere. After a few weeks, I found myself rubbing one out in the shower, as you do. But before completion, I grabbed the culprit's shampoo bottle and busted my nut into it and shook it up. I feel like this is maybe the most... this is the cafe suicide bombing of semen terrorism right here. This is the most common of the things. This is like your run-of-the-mill bomb vest and then running into a cafe going like la la la, and then you blow it up. That's, that's like Tuesday in fucking Israel. But and then same thing with semen terrorism. Same thing. This is like the most common offense that I've done through my research. It seems to be the shampoo bottle, the body wash, etc. So let's see what happened. The victim decided. I like how he calls him the victim in this in this email. Then for icing on the cake, I pissed into his body wash bottle. Now that one seems, as I referenced in my listing of fluids with Sarah Weinshank last week, piss to me is a greater offense than semen. I don't even know that I would notice semen in a shampoo. Would I notice piss? I think so. And here, you want to know something kind of I just thought of? I had a shampoo bottle in one of my hotels this past 2 weeks. I'm not going to say which one. But when I was tipping it over and squeezing the shampoo out of it, I noticed the viscosity of it a little suspect. And it made me think of this whole thing. I go, I wonder if a disgruntled employee here just came and woke up a couple of the shampoo bottles. I'll never know. Did I wash myself with it? 100, yes. Just going whatever. It smells like soap. You know what I'm saying? And it was an odd color. Piss though. If I opened my body wash and it smelled like piss, I would have to burn my house down. I hate piss. I don't know what it is. I hate it. I wish I liked it, because it opens up things sexually, obviously. It just creates more options. So he pissed into the body wash. After my shower, the victim decided to hop on in and take a shower himself. I knew it was him because after he was done, the bathroom smelled like piss. See, that's the thing. He's washing his whole body with piss. How do you not smell that? Especially someone else's piss, as we referenced last week. I knew it was him because of after he was done, the bathroom smelled like piss. So much so, he walked into my room to ask about the smell with wet hair. He's like, so this guy's a fucking idiot. He's walking around. He's like, man, it smells like piss. And he's not like, I smell like piss. No, he's like, man, why does it smell like fucking piss in here? He's just walking around with wet hair. Yikes. It was a double kill, and after he left the room, my roommate and I laughed the hardest we've ever laughed. So yeah, I guess I'm a semen terrorist. Just thought you'd like the story. Thanks for all the laughs, Papa Roach. Matt. He gives his name. His name is Matt. Thank you, Matt, for your confession. Thank you for being open. Wild stuff. But keep them coming, folks. We have another one here. Holy shit. This one's another one. Maybe I saved this one. But we have... Oh, no, here we go. Let's see. This is the one with the article. So, no, I'm not going to save this. Sup, Papa Roach. This is from JD. Sent this little email in with an article about semen terrorism and an encounter. We've been talking about it quite a bit, but I have to raise more awareness to this. I've raised awareness about Tom Brenneman needing to return to work. I'm going to do it about semen terrorism as well. I was listening to episode 50 with Sarah Weinschenk, and you guys were talking about cum terrorism. It made me have a flashback from my second job. I was an assistant dairy manager at a Sprouts farmers market, and we got a new yogurt in that wasn't moving. Being a good young new manager, I'm thinking, let's get some samples going. People get free shit. Hopefully they'll buy this yogurt that's about to expire. Yeah, yogurt has a short shelf life. So you got to get that shit moving. Not a yogurt guy myself. Maybe because it resembles cum so much. I don't know. It's just an odd texture sort of thing. It smells weird. But anywho, this guy's trying to move it. So he's got, back before COVID, we used to just walk around grocery stores and taking those samples from those trays like nothing was. Now that'll never happen again. We'll never have those samples ever again in the grocery store. I guarantee it. So he decided to do the sample thing. Anyway, my manager comes running up to me screaming, "What the hell am I doing?" Flipped my yogurt table and pulled me into the back and just went off. What I didn't know was the year before, a dairy manager was coming in yogurt samples. So this grocery store had an odd history. He got caught when a lady told the management the yogurt tasted like cum. I guess, hey, maybe an expert came in there to sample the yogurt. Now I know what that is. That is cum. I am certain of it. I am certain. I know. If I know anything, I know that this yogurt tastes like cum. Could you imagine being that lady? And they're like, okay, I don't know. It's such an odd thing. And she has to really brag about how much of an expert she is so that they're like, wow, this lady really knows what she's talking about. Excuse me, sir, this is definitely semen in this Chobani. It's what she said. There's an article about it. It's out of Albuquerque. A man has been sentenced to federal prison for tricking a woman into tasting his semen at the sunflower market. Police arrested former sunflower market employee Anthony Garcia for putting his own semen into a spoon and tricking a woman into tasting it. So he wasn't even pretending it was yogurt or mixing it with the yogurt. He was just coming and being like, want to try this yogurt? And that girl was like, oh, that's cum, all right. Garcia told the judge Thursday that he didn't know the consequences were going to be so high. Well, yeah, you are a sex terrorist, my friend. He apologized to the victim and Sunflower Market. However, in a rare move, the judge sentenced him to 24 months in federal prison, which is more than the 12 to 18 months that were expected. So, that seems like a light sentence. That's probably why people are talking about this quite a bit, because they're trying to make it a little bit more of a sex crime and getting a bit of a heftier sort of sentence along with it. It doesn't happen a lot. A judge really has to be particularly concerned with the kind of offense conduct to go up, says the district attorney Ken Gonzalez. Prosecutors said Garcia tricked 4 women into sampling the semen and watched their reactions. Maybe that's where people are getting their jollies. They're like, ooh, taste it. What do you think? And one of them was probably like, this is the best yogurt I've ever had. And he's like, oh, yeah, he gets to take that little thought with him when he goes home. And then this woman was like, if I know anything, I know this was fucking cum, all right. There's one incident in a local Walmart where he flashed a young lady who was in the store, apparently, talking about some of his past crimes. They had some DNA tests, by the way, which proved he was responsible and that it was, in fact, his cum. Before she handed down the sentence, the judge told Garcia that what he did is despicable, heinous, and horrendous. At one point, the judge told Garcia that she's practically speechless in trying to articulate just how offensive it is. My throat got really dry there. I need a little cum, I think. Little cum lozenge here. We had the kind of offense that is just incomprehensible, What possesses somebody to do something like this? I have no idea. Well, that's what we're trying to find out. Hopefully, there is not anybody else out there who would have any notion to do anything like this. Well, keep printing articles like this and you're inspiring more and more. Garcia has been ordered to serve his sentence at the Bureau of Prisons in Stafford. He's also ordered to take psychosexual evaluations and undergo sex offender treatment. Well, that's good. Because, yeah, that's what it is at the end of the day. A sex offense. Garcia has a case pending in District Court of Criminal Sexual Conduct of a minor kidnapping and bribery, which is set for trial in April. Don't know. They really glossed over the kidnapping part of all that. Ah, well. So that is a little updates, and that is a deeper dive into what's going on with semen terrorism. As, of course, September, Terrorism Month. Hopefully you've been watching your 9/11 documentaries, like Christmas movies, on all the streaming services. They've got to put them all up there, but let's get into some more news. Aha! Here she is. Now, again, we are trying to curb some semen terrorism, and this politician is running for Canadian Parliament. He wants men not to ejaculate at all. Maybe he's an ally. Maybe he is someone who is so anti-semen terrorism. He's like, I don't want people coming ever. But really, like, if we're being serious, this man is probably the most depraved human being behind closed doors. Like, he is doing all kinds of fucking Eyes Wide Shut trailer park shit. It's like Eyes Wide Shut meets like Jackass 5 or something like that. I'm sure it's gnarly what he's doing in real life, but let's see what his bent is. In a riding tucked away in one of Canada's most forgettable provinces, you'll find a candidate preaching about a topic sorely undercovered this election. That is semen retention. Perhaps this is sort of like the Patriot Act, trying to keep people from, take away rights in lieu of all the terrorism, you see. Nicholas Pereira is the People's Party of Canada candidate in St. John, Rothesay, New Brunswick. But on the internet, he's known as Nikula Dawes. Interesting, a YouTuber dedicated to making sure his followers don't ejaculate. His videos are of the vlog variety, typically addressed to his semen retention army. That's hilarious. This guy's doing... Excuse me, this guy's doing fucking YouTube videos. He's like, what's up, YouTube fam? Where's all my semen retention army out there? That's like, we're doing the same thing with Roach Army, Roach Nation. He's out there like, what's up, all my semen retention peeps? Hope you're keeping that cum in your balls today and keeping them every day. I'm giving you all the strong words. All my soldiers. He prompt salute to his soldiers. He also offers his teachings on Instagram where he posts about techniques. I gotta follow this guy. He preaches techniques such as testicle breathing. Breathe deeply into your balls. Imagine your testicles expanding like lungs. So he's taking like meditation. This is like what they do in meditation. You do a guided meditation on YouTube and it's some chooch with fucking long hair who's like, just breathe and you can feel your breath moving from your toes to the tips of your hair on your head. It's in your eyebrows. Now it's coursing through your stomach and into your lungs. And you're like, I want to fucking jump through the guided meditation and stab this man in the temple. I'd rather listen to just some waves crashing. I can get through it that a lot easier. But this guy's sort of mixing all the tropes of YouTube into one semen retention sort of brand. I got to start following him on the old Instagram here. So he does breathe deeply into your balls. He calls them balls, by the way, which, I don't know, he's trying to run for office. If you want to have a little more gravitas in your message, be a little more serious, maybe don't call them balls. Maybe call them testicles. I don't know. I like balls personally, but I'm just trying to help you out, pal. He says, imagine your testicles expanding like lungs. When you exhale, imagine your testicles deflating like your lungs would. The Canadian political candidate wrote in an Instagram post 4 weeks ago, most men never breathe into their balls consciously. Give it a try out there, folks. I would love it if I could feel my balls breathing, like retracting and I mean, the sack does when it gets cold. You know, it's like, you don't really feel it, though. You don't notice it. Maybe you do. Maybe some of you all out there do. Have you ever felt your balls breathe? Send an email, joshpottershow@gmail.com, along with your semen terrorism encounters. Let me know about your balls breathing. Make your balls breathe out there. I'm gonna sign off with that. And over 130 videos on his page, he philosophizes about how men not orgasming is their key to a better life. He can teach his followers the true way to achieve their maximum potential, but only after they sign up for one of his webinars. Of course, on Patreon, another place he teaches his followers how to not ejaculate. The PPC candidate writes that he is creating an army of semen retention practitioners and a place where men don't come to transform their lives. What a message. I mean, I'm like a hero to this guy. We all know of my ejaculation issues, of course. I suffer from a little syndrome known as delayed ejaculation. I'm like a god in this sort of movement here. This guy should fucking talk to me. How do you do it? Well, I don't know. Somewhere along the way, something fucked me up. Now I just dissociate during sex. I don't know. It's, was I molested as a kid? I can't remember. I'd love someone to come in here and peel apart my brain and find that out. I don't think that's what it was, though. Dr. Drew has said that too. He's like, I don't think you were molested. I just think something else is going on. I was like, yeah, probably. Semen retention is the idea that it is advantageous for men not to ejaculate. The reason for doing this varies, but for many, it's in the hope of abstaining will naturally increase their testosterone levels. So it's all about like it's all like that boxer mentality. If you pent it all up, if you keep it all inside you, you're going to be more, I don't even know what you're going to be. Why do you want more what's with this? Like, I want more testosterone levels. Who gives a shit? You know? I don't know. Some in the semen retention community even look at semen in an almost spiritual light as containing a man's essence. For others, not fapping is a way to combat porn addiction. The movement has, in recent years, been reportedly co-opted by misogynists on the far right. Well, that's what it sounds like. You know, these incels like, I'm keeping my cum for myself. Yeah, I bet. It's weird when you make that choice after having it already kind of made for you. At the end of the day, no, you're not tricking anybody. People's Party of Canada leader Maxime Bernier has appeared publicly with Pierre and St. John Rothesay. As far as Vice World News can tell, Bernier has not weighed in with his thoughts on semen retention. In August, during a campaign stop, the two confronted New Brunswick Education Minister Dominic Carty over child vaccines. During the exchange, he called Carty a piece of shit and a human rights violator. In interviews with local media, he focuses on many of the PPC talking points, such as ending mass immigration and, of course, rallying against vaccinations and vaccine passports. So interesting. He's like, I think people should do what they want with their bodies, but don't you fucking come. Don't you fucking come. Keep that shit inside. Oh, you should be able to get the vaccine if you want. Don't fucking come, though. If you jerk off, you're fucking disgusting piece of shit. Almost all of the attention that he has received outside of New Brunswick has been focused on semen-minded ways, not his politics, which agitated the candidate. The mainstream media is trying to discredit me in my political campaign using hashtag semen retention and hashtag nofap. Things that I've created, he wrote on Twitter. After news of his semen views came to light, they are attacking the truth at every angle because people are waking up. With those semen retention soldiers in New Brunswick, they may be excited about their commander running. It's unlikely he will even get close to winning. Currently, the poll aggregator 338 has the riding going as a toss-up between the Conservatives and the Liberals. In 2019, the People's Party of Canada candidate and St. John Rothesay gained 3% of the vote. All right. So there you go. Today's Josh Potter Show also brought to us by DoorDash. DoorDash, my friend, unbelievable service. A lot of things happened during COVID-19 that I don't want to ever remember. But you know what was one thing that was introduced to me because I couldn't go outside or anything like that? I had meals delivered to me, was the DoorDash situation. And it's been unbelievable. It's something that I'm taking with me outside of COVID. And I'm just like, you know what? There are times I don't want to talk to anybody or go anywhere to get my food so I can have it delivered right to my door from a myriad of restaurants. So many to choose from, especially here in Los Angeles. I've been on the road and I like to see what DoorDash has in other cities, and I get to try the local flavor without leaving the comforts of my hotel room. It's wonderful. And they not only do restaurants and things like that, you can also have convenience store things brought to you. You need a toothbrush, you need toothpaste, you need razors, anything like that. DoorDash scoops up as well. Not only that, those are two things. A third thing, booze. You want to get some booze, you can't get it, can't go to the liquor store, maybe it's too far of a walk or it's closed. DoorDash will hook you up. They'll have it to your door in no time. You can get what you want to eat and more right now, right to your door with DoorDash. Ordering is easy and your items will be left safely outside your door when you choose contactless delivery drop-off. They're keeping that post-COVID because they're like, hey, people just kind of like that, it turns out. Not all bad things came out of that whole pandemic. Let's look at things glass half full, you see. For a limited time, my listeners, they can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code JOSH. That's 25% off up to $10 value with 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code JOSH. Don't forget, that's code JOSH for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Subject to change, terms apply. And by the way, I have to say this for my Roach reporters out there because this one was sent to me quite a bit. If I don't give you credit, it's because it was sent to me 1,000 times. I know Jefferson Nally out there. He's trying to get his Emmy Award. I understand. We have one of his in here tonight. But if I got it a lot of times, I can't give credit to everybody who sent it in. So try to make them unique is all I'm saying. I do appreciate certain ones, obviously, but, try to find ones that are unique. If you want to send it in, by the way, joshpottershow@gmail.com is how you can send it all in. I'm going to save some of these because we are just on a semen tear, but I'm not going to continue to talk about it. Jefferson Nally had a lot of anus stories that he sent in to me this week. So I thought, because he's so good with the butt stories, that we're going to do it. So we're shifting, you see, here in the news from semen to the ass. Just the important stuff here on the Josh Potter Show. He's got a pair of anus-related stories. Let's find out the first one here. A man has whole fish stuck in a rectum after sitting on it by accident. A man who had to get a fish surgically removed from his rectum reportedly told the nurse that he accidentally sat on the animal. Well, I know if I'm just, going to take a little seat on a park bench, sometimes I sit down and, oh boy, a fish goes up my ass. I mean, how tiny was the fish? How big is his asshole? What the fuck's going on here? Let's find out. The unnamed 30-year-old man was treated in the accident and emergency department at Zhaoqing First People's Hospital in China's southern province of Guangdong on June 3rd. I know what's going on already. This is what happens when we have animal mysteriously got into my ass. This is what's going on every time. It is usually in a repressed country. China, you can't probably play with your ass as much as you can over here in the good old United States of America. That's what's great about, our troops. They're fighting for us overseas all the time to keep our freedoms. It's so you could put stuff in your ass, folks, and people are not going to ask you any questions. When you go over to these other places like China and the Middle East and things, you get caught putting shit in your ass, guess what? You're dead in some capacity. So what I think is this man wanted to know what it was like to have his ass filled up so that he could feel what it's like to come properly for the first time in his shackled life. And so he put the fish up his ass because he thought that looks slimy and cool. I think I'm going to try that on for size. And then when it got stuck up there, he had to get surgery. And people are like, how the hell? What are you doing? You putting fish in your ass so you could come? And he's like, no, not me. And then he just, I sat down and the fish went in there. Let's see more of what his sort of explanation is. A chat transcript has circulated on China's social media service, Weibo, which is like, state-run Facebook or whatever. It states that the healthcare worker responded saying, do you think I'm an idiot? So here we go, because he said he accidentally sat on the fish when it then entered his body via his anus. Hilarious. The people were like, okay, bro. The man had to have an emergency endoscopy. The images showed the skeleton of the fish, which was a Mozambique tilapia, if you're interested. Tilapia. Order that on the menu tonight. You can imagine it being in this Chinaman's rectum. Is that a racist saying Chinaman? I can't remember. He is a China man, so I don't know. If it is, cancel me. I don't give a shit. The report also stated that medics tried repeatedly to get the dead fish out, but it was too large, and it had the spiny fins. It also caused the patient's large intestine to rupture, which meant surgeons were forced to open his abdomen up. Good God. Imagine, you're eating a fish, and you get the bones. You swallow the bones, and you're like, oh no, it's poking your esophagus. You have to be very careful not to swallow those little bones. Now imagine you put those little bones up your ass. It's sort of the reverse problem. You're having a problem coming out as opposed to going down. Either way, you're stabbing the tubes in there. You know what I'm saying? The report also stated that the medics repeatedly tried to get the dead fish out, but it was too large. The spiny fins, yes, we know. The fish was eventually retrieved from the man's bowels. To make matters even more disgusting, medics were reportedly gagging at the smell in the operating theater. Well, yeah, it's a fish mixed with shit. The worst two things. It's not going to smell like fucking roses. The male patient is not thought to have been in any life-threatening condition, while it is unclear whether the tilapia was dead or alive at the time of insertion. And I'd imagine it just went up there and it didn't have any... It wasn't able to breathe through its gills, plus it was probably just breathing shit water, if anything, and then it probably died. He's not the first person to recently get a foreign object stuck somewhere that you might not expect it. Doctors at a hospital in India were left baffled when they discovered a 2-foot-long phone charger inside a patient's bladder. We have talked about India and how they've been putting shit in their ass too, by the way. And it's all, I think, the same ball of wax, friend. Look at what the government says about homosexuals, and then look at what they're doing. This is what happens, I wonder if there's still people in this country putting foreign... I mean, we all heard about Richard Gere putting the gerbil. That was a wives' tale. But these other countries, they're really doing that because they don't know. They're just like, I want to know what it's like to have my ass filled up. The man turned up at the hospital last week complaining of abdominal pain, but nobody could have imagined that the pain was being caused by an entangled ball of a charger cable. So this man put his fucking charger cable. Good God. According to the doctors, Islam must have been swallowed or inserted deliberately for sexual gratification. It says Islam must have been swallowed. What the fuck does that mean? It must have meant because of Islam, the charger was swallowed. Or inserted for sexual gratification. That's what I'm saying. It's the Islam thing. It's China being China. I don't know what China's stance is on gay people. I can't imagine it's open-minded. For Christ's sake, we've mentioned it many a time, but I mean, over here we're trying to do, stop Asian hate. Someone should tell China because they're not really doing it. I'll tell you what. But let's see what else we've got in the news here. I think we're just going to move on to the sports before we get out of here because the NFL season is underway. And week one, rough stuff for my Buffalo Bills. They did not win. They lost to the Steelers, who I think are a good team, and it's just week one. So I'm not, the sky is not falling for me quite yet. And many people talking about Chase and Sarah's little running back game that I did. I've constructed the rules for this, by the way. So if you have any issues with it, that's on me. And the people that were selected, I gave them the 5 choices. I based them off of last season's top 100 NFL players that the NFL Network and players all voted on. And of course, Christian McCaffrey, not involved in that because he didn't play last year. So that's why he's not on the list. I based it off the top 5 running backs in the top 100. And so that's why the players are who they are. And it's rushing touchdowns. That was just what off the top of my head, the stipulation I made. It's not receiving touchdowns, just rushing touchdowns. So I have to make that clear as well. But let's get into the sports. We can talk a little bit about the things that have been going on. Beep, 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 beep. Oh, yes, and boy, oh boy, the primetime games have been absolutely exciting. Monday Night Football was a wild one in overtime. Thursday Night Football in Week 2 was unbelievable, a back and forth. I mean, hell, the debut Thursday Night Football, and this is so wild, because watching Tom Brady play now, I am in a completely different mindset. I don't know if it's evolution, if it's me growing up. I think it's the pure fact that Tom Brady's no longer on the hated New England Patriots, at least hated in my eyes. I mean... It's very obtuse the way that I look at the New England Patriots. I honestly, if a player I even like goes to the New England Patriots, I'm like, fuck that guy forever. As long as you're wearing that uniform, fuck you forever. I hate your guts. If you wear that merch around me, I mean, I have friends. Lee Syatt's a Patriots fan, but I don't think he cares that much, so I can kind of let it slide. A Patriots thing, I can't. I'm always kind of looking at you with a side eye. Patriots fans, you see. Because they've spent the last 20 years with such great success. They don't know true suffering. And if you're a certain age, that means you just grew up with lollipops and rainbows this whole fucking time. I don't think you understand what being a real fan is like, really. I look at you sideways, is all I'm saying. Now, if you're an old-timey Patriots fan and you grew up with them in the 80s and then the 90s, and when they were dog shit, and now you've witnessed the last 20 years of success, I think that's good. Good for you. But I'm still going to hate it, is all I'm saying. But now that Tom Brady's on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, everything he's doing, I'm like, this guy's hilarious. This guy's great. It's a refreshing sort of change for me, you see, because I've spent the last 20 years hating his fucking guts and just, him making me sick. And he did something on Thursday Night Football, which was pretty consistent from what he's done the whole time, and I saw it coming. It was bizarre. I've seen this. It was a tale as old as time, Tom Brady gets the ball down 2 points with a minute and a half left in the game. You can't let Tom Brady do that. You just can't. It's the dumbest thing in the world. Why would you? You've seen it the last 20 years every single time. He's going to drive down the field and they're going to kick the field goal. Sure enough, it did. And I found myself rooting for him in that moment, going like, you do it, old man. Because now I don't care. He's in the NFC South. Who gives a shit? I'm an AFC East guy. He couldn't be more opposite end of the spectrum. If anything, we just meet him in the Super Bowl, then I'll hate him there, But it's so bizarre how I'm just like, go get him, old man, And he did something that I was like laughing at here. And if he was still on the Patriots and he did this, I would be like, this fucking disgusting piece of shit. But what he did was he trolled the Atlanta Falcons, who are now in his division. And if you recall, just a few years ago, what year would that have been? The Super Bowl in 2016 or 2017. It was right before I moved to Los Angeles, and I watched it at a girl's house who I thought, like, this is so weird. I was like, oh my God, I could really date this girl. And then I was like, oh shit, I'm moving to Los Angeles. And I didn't tell her, and then like things naturally just I think the Super Bowl had something to do with it, to be quite honest. The Super Bowl party at her house, because everyone was in a pissy mood, and I was just like, I got to get out of here. And it was, if I was euphoric and happy, maybe we would have made love that night, and we would have like saw a future together or something. So maybe it's actually a blessing that Tom Brady disgusted me so much on that fucking night, because it was the night that, of course, the Patriots beat the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl, and it was a massive comeback. They were down, 29-3. They came back and won 31-29, or it was 23-3 or something like that. But so Tom Brady plays the Atlanta Falcons now twice a year, and don't think he's forgotten about that Super Bowl. So he decided to troll them. Let's hear what he says.
Hey, what's up? Hope you guys had a great weekend. Football is officially back, and it's great to be 1-0. We got a big week ahead. The marathon's just getting started. We got a lot to improve on, and excited for this week. Let's go.
And of course, the music kicks in, and it shows images of, and there's the 31-29, just digging that in. And Falcons fans are down bad, friend. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons are a fucking mess, and I feel bad if you're a Falcons fan, because it hasn't been good since that moment. I mean, since getting to that Super Bowl. But hey, I'm over here going, good one, Tom. You go get him, buddy. Where did that come from? If you would have told me that 5 years ago, I would have been like, what? There's no fucking way. Another gentleman who is just coming up all the time, people love pointing him out to me. Obviously, we have raised the awareness of Cecil Wilson. And, another year is here. He made some stink in the offseason about getting traded, perhaps, and he wanted maybe to leave Seattle. There was talks of him maybe going down to New Orleans. He was dipping his toe there. The mayor of New Orleans came out and was like, come on down, And so there was talk of that and things, but nothing ever materialized. He has a big cap hit this year. I mean, if it was going to happen, it's going to happen next year, I think. But the thing about Cecil that I think makes everyone a little suspicious is, why are you trying so hard to be this social media icon? He goes up there. We know the Mr. Unlimited. Mr. Unlimited. He did that whole fucking video. He's been doing just wild shit. And I don't know if this is Sierra putting this out there. Is it Sierra or Ciara? I never know. Do you know? You didn't know who she was earlier, so I don't think you're listening to that type of music, Kirsten, are you?
No, I always thought it was just Sierra. I mean, I think I know a few songs.
Well, I feel weird saying Sierra because it sounds like I'm in Cheektowaga, New York, just doing a flat A and having a regional dialect. But no, Ciara is what I would expect it to be called. But she was at the Met Gala, and she decided to put on for her bud, or for her husband. And it's just, I was curious how the discussion went putting this on. Of course, she showed up, the Met Gala, of course, a fashion show. I really don't understand. Do you know the Met Gala? I don't understand what goes on there.
I've never understood it other than people, just dress up either really nice or really ridiculous.
Yeah, they dress up insane, and they wear insane shit, and this was her attempt at doing that. It's a Russell Wilson jersey, essentially, that's turned into a gown. But do you think behind closed doors he was like, you make sure when you go to that Met Gala that you put on for me, you wear my fucking jersey? I wonder what their dynamic is. But all accounts say that they're nice. In fact, there was a rumor about old Cecil here that I have, and it was sent to me by Darshan Kiefer. Rumors hit the net of Russell Wilson cheating and impregnating another woman. And this was a blip. You might not even have seen this. It didn't really get too high up in the rumor mill because of the fact that it was actually Richard Sherman who did it. And Russell Wilson was kind of into the fold. An Instagram model by the name of Raina Westberg is being called out for being pregnant by a married Richard Sherman. The person who called her out is a friend of Ashley Sherman, the free agent's cornerback's wife. On top of that information, is the woman also revealing that Russell Wilson allegedly knocked up Westberg's best friend as well. Remember, this is all alleged and hearsay until further notice. It should be noted that the woman says that Russell Wilson news is just being claimed, but she is not saying that it is true. Interesting. So Russell Wilson getting swept into the Richard Sherman drama. The Richard Sherman one, I think, is proven. The other one is kind of just getting floated out there, but I think it's Russell Wilson just has the ability to squash those things. I don't know if it's through this or if it's through something else. I don't know how he gets it done so quickly, but all the rumors that kind of swirl about him into a cloud of dust, miraculously. So keep your eyes peeled. He's making Sierra wear that dress with his number on it. He's out here maybe impregnating someone. We'll see what's going on. It's funny, though, because I brought up during our episode with Chase O'Donnell a couple episodes ago that there is no bar league football, and someone took umbrage with that. Charlie, number 79 in his bar league football, wrote to me. He says, Josh, in the past episode you stated that there is no bar league football. I must inform you of the world of adult amateur full contact football, colloquial known as semi-pro. These are primarily summer leagues with no pay and no benefits. I am currently 30, but from the time I was 17 to 20, I played in a couple of these leagues. So you're still young enough. That's like college age, 17 to 20. If you were 30 and you were playing in that league, I would say, oh, okay. But you were young. It's a bunch of guys ranging from their late teens to as old as their 50s, so I guess there are some people in there, and skill levels ranging from no football to D3 to D2. I, in fact, had to stop playing for a number of years due to nasty injury. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was exactly getting at. I'm not discounting that these things could exist, but they are dangerous, and it's garbage football, I guarantee. I mean, you got an old man in his 50s going up against like a guy just out of D2 college, and then he just gets drilled. I mean, it's going to be sloppy at best. You kind of need everyone to be sort of on the same skill level. That's why I don't like college football as much as I would like to, because the disparity in talent is always so great, and you're just watching one team rip up another team, and you're like, God, this blows. This is like boring. And so that's why the parity of the NFL is so fantastic, in my opinion, and that's why it's not often replicated outside of that sort of thing, and it makes this kind of thing dog shit. But I mean, hey, I'm glad it exists. It gives people some way to hold on to the game, perhaps if they are needing to do that, but it doesn't seem like it's a worthwhile one, and it seems like it's going to get people hurt at the end of the day more than anything else. We heard the Tom Brady thing here, yes. Oh, the other thing I wanted to bring up is I think I have a new hatred for a different quarterback, and I don't have any skin in the game for this man, but boy, oh boy, it was fun to see Aaron Rodgers get his ass kicked by Jameis Winston. I love Jameis. Jameis Winston is wild. I mean, he's got some of his foibles that were proven to be not so, perhaps, but I mean, maybe some people still believe him, but he's out there eating W's like an idiot. He's, throwing as many interceptions as he has touchdowns. Jameis Winston's just fun. It's just exciting. Aaron Rodgers, I am so sick of. I'm just such a I'm so over it, and I'm so glad he got his ass kicked. Then he went up into the press conference, talked about how embarrassed he was, and the coach was like, trying to put on a glossy sort of take. Matt LaFleur, he was trying to go up there and be like, I can't remember actually who said what. Which one of them said that they were embarrassed? I think it was Matt LaFleur saying it was embarrassing, and then Aaron Rodgers goes, no, it wasn't embarrassing, even though it was, or was it the other way around? Either way, they're not on the same page, and I think Aaron Rodgers would just say anything the opposite of Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur could go up there and be like, I thought Aaron did great, and then Aaron Rodgers go, I played like shit. He'll just say anything opposite of Matt LaFleur, because he's a petty asshole. And look at the picture of him there. It looks like he's in True Detective the next season. Maybe he will be. Maybe that's going to be his new career, because it certainly doesn't seem like he wants to play football based off of week 1. Holy hell. So hopefully we can look forward to the demise of Aaron Rodgers. I don't like seeing the demise of people, but I don't know. He just seems like a fucking prick. I know he got kind of a fucking bad rap there with Green Bay, but Jesus, he just seems like a dildo, And some people point to some of his other interviews, but those are with people he likes. Like him going on Pat McAfee's show where he feels comfortable, good for you. But do that in every interview, and then I'll be like, what a cool guy. You know what I mean? He just goes on with his buddies and shoots the shit, but he won't do it in any other capacity. I don't know. I'm kind of over him, and I'm going to revel in the fact that he's losing, and it has nothing to do with the fact that the roommate I was referencing earlier that annoys the shit out of me is a Green Bay Packers fan. Those things are mutually exclusive, okay? But I wanted to wrap up the show by giving perhaps a bit of a homework assignment to you out there, a little Roach homework, if you will. New 30 for 30 just aired on ESPN, and now if you're not a fan of sports, this is still for you. I mean, this is going to be the thing that brings you over, I think. Or if it doesn't even have to bring you over, it's something that you'll be interested in. If you're a fan of intrigue, if you're a fan of drugs, women, scandals, glory, all these things are found in the new 30 for 30 about the Mets, which is called Once Upon a Time in Queens. It's a 2-parter. It's slightly under 2 hours, and it is about the 1986 Mets and the lead up to making them, the characters involved, the fallout after they've won the World Series. I mean, it is just spectacular. You've got, of course, Darryl Strawberry, who was smoking crack in the clubhouse essentially. I mean, he was doing drugs and showing up to the games. You got Dwight Gooden, who was, just electric as a player, doing countless drugs. You got Keith Hernandez fucking his way up and down Manhattan. I mean, it's such an electric documentary, and we're going to talk about it in length with some guests, hopefully, in the coming weeks. So I want just to put it on your radar so that if you're out there and you want to watch it, you will, so you know what we're talking about, and we don't have any spoilers. So it won't be for a little while, but so I wanted to put it out there since it is available for you to watch, my friends. But that is another episode of The Josh Potter Show. JoshPotterShow@gmail.com if you want to get involved as far as submitting an article or sending in some feedback or an email and just saying hello. Or if you want to submit some music the way that Craftmatics has with this one right here, it's called 37. Thank you for that. Or if you want to do a remix, or we have queefs. The queefs are piling up again, so I'm kind of saving them for a nice queef segment in the future. So we'll get to that down the road. But that is the email, joshpottershow@gmail.com. Other than that, again, thank you if you've been coming to the live shows. These past 2 weeks have been unbelievable. Milwaukee, Cleveland, Nashville, thank you for turning up. Thank you for coming out. Thank you to Annie Letterman for bringing me on a little stint in that. We're going to get her in here at some point down the road. Do not fret about that. Coming up, though, one more time I want to mention DC Improv, September 30th. And then Thanksgiving weekend, I'll be at home in Buffalo, New York at Helium Comedy Club for 5 shows. Beyond that, like I said, coming to New York area down the road here at the new year. We're going to be coming to Pittsburgh, Raleigh, all these places. Those announcements will be coming shortly once the tickets go on sale. So thank you so much for joining us at Josh_Potter on Instagram, at J_Potter on Twitter. That's where you can find the links to everything, including tickets, including more things about this show, and twitch.tv/Josh_Potter. Friday Night Lights is back this past week, so I hope you join me for that. If not, I hope you join me in the future. Other than that, my friend, thank you for coming out once again. Beware of the Orkin man. Keep hiding under the fridge, under the cupboards, and we will see you come out once again next Tuesday here on The Josh Potter Show.